Sherry, this is Tracy here. I'm looking. I do not see it. However, I do see that I did receive a notice that the meeting is recorded has started.
Okay, I just selected that. So we'll just go ahead with me for now. John, do you have the ability to record?
No, I don't. I was looking at that. So we'll just have to go with the one recording.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm not sure why because I had it set up with anyone from my organization as a presenter. Okay, so we're good. Recording has started. And per the board, we're going to go ahead and keep the officers that we have in place, Constable Judge John Bruno as the chair and Constable Bud Pites as the vice chair for the remainder of the year. Okay, so currently present on the call for this meeting, I have the following board members and PCCD staff. I have Judge Tom Berletic, Allegheny County, Constable John Bruno, Dauphin County, who is also the board chair, Constable Bud Pites, vice chair, Allegheny County, Constable Craig Westover, Venango County, Captain Joanne Reed, the PSP Academy Director Designee, Mike Pennington, PCCD Executive Director, Deborah Sandifer, PCCD Chief Counsel, John Fowl, PCCD staff, Sherry Leffler, PCCD staff, Tracy Beaver, PCCD staff, Nick Hartman, PCCD staff, and Yvonne Murray, PCCD staff. Are there any other PCCD staff present that I did not mention?
Hi, Sherry. This is Megan.
And Megan, I apologize, Megan. And
No
Megan
worries.
Staub, Curriculum Manager for the Bureau of Training Services. We do have a quorum of board members to conduct business as usual, so we will get started with the action items. If there's any discussion amongst the board members, I'm going to ask each board member by name, and then if there's any discussion needed by PCCD staff for each action item. If I'm hearing none or after any discussion that takes place, I will then ask for a motion and a second to approve each action item. I do ask that the board member making the motion and second of the motion state their name for the record before each motion is provided. Just a reminder, there is no roll call votes needed, but I would need you to state your name if you are abstaining or recusing yourself from any of the action items. I rearranged the action items so that we could get action taken on the first three items in case I have any board members that may need to leave the call. So those were the first big things that I do need to have action taken on. So the first action item on the agenda today is the extension of firearms training certification for 2021. Would the board like me to read through that action item, or is everyone comfortable with the way that it is laid out? And that can be found on page 2, correct, of the board packet.
I'm good with the way it stands. I've read it.
Okay, is there any discussion, other discussion? Judge Berletic?
No, I'm fine.
Constable Bruno?
I'm fine.
Constable Pites?
Bud, unmute your phone.
Are you there, Bud?
Bud, unmute it.
Yeah, I'm here.
And
Sorry.
do you have any discussion on this extension of firearms training certifications?
No, I've read over it several times here. I'm fine.
Okay. Captain Reed, is there any discussion from you? PCCD staff, any discussion that you would like to bring forth to the board on this action item? Hearing none, I will then move for a motion to approve the extension of firearms training certifications through December 31st of 2021. Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion.
State your name, Bud.
Yeah, state your name first, please.
I'm sorry. Bud Pites. I make a motion to accept.
John Bruno, board chair. I'll second the motion.
And then all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Berletic, aye. Pites, aye.
Bruno.
Westover, aye.
Thank you very much. We'll then move to the next action item, which is going to be a change to the 2020 certification training requirement. What we are asking the board to do is to take the 2020 continuing education training requirement of 12 hours for continuing education, which included 8 hours of classroom training and 4 hours of online training. And what we are asking the board to do is to eliminate the 8 hours of classroom due to the cancellation of all of the training classes due to COVID, and just require that the 4 hours of online training be completed in 2021 to maintain certification for 2021. Is there any
John Bruno, Board Chair.
Go ahead, John.
I'll make that motion.
Is it
I will
before we
make
go
that
to
motion,
okay,
John.
before we go to a motion, is there any discussion amongst the board members or PCCD staff for this action item? Okay, hearing none, then we have had a motion to approve this from John Bruno. Do I get a second?
Constable Westover seconds it.
All those in favor, please say aye and state your name first.
Berletta guy.
Bruno, aye.
Pikes eye. Pikes eye.
Westover, aye.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is training class reimbursement process. Right now, the staff do not have a process in place for reimbursement of class payments. We've had a couple instances where we have the request has been made to us, but we did not have a formal reimbursement process in place. So what I'm asking the board to do is to approve this process so that staff can then move forward with any reimbursements that we may receive for class payments. Is there any discussion amongst the board members?
John Fowle, what are your thoughts on this? This is John Bruno asking John.
Yeah, this is John Fowle, PCCD. I think this is a good process set up. You know, this is a change where we're asking people to pay for basic and basic firearms. And quite frankly, this COVID is a prime example. We had to cancel the basic firearms as it was originally scheduled. We had, I think, 20 constables who had paid. And then when we were able to start up again and reschedule it, I think 2 or 3 of those individuals were not able to make the new dates. So they were asking for a reimbursement. And given the conditions of what's going on, you know, the one gentleman I know expressed to staff that, you know, he really needed that money now because of lack of work, et cetera. So I think it's a good process that's set up.
Okay, with that, any more discussion? I'll make that motion to accept it as presented. John Bruno.
Thank you, John.
Berletta seconds the motion.
All those in favor, please say aye and state your name first, please.
Berletta guy.
Westover, aye.
Pikes eye.
Bruno, aye.
Thank you. Then we're going to move through the draft minutes. I will announce each draft minutes and then we'll need the motion and to approve and the second then. So unapproved minutes of the November 7th, 2019 meeting. Is there any discussion?
Sherry, what page are we on?
We are on page 6 of the board packet.
Sorry, thank you.
Yep. Any discussion, changes, additions needed for these meeting minutes? Hearing none, then I would ask for a motion to approve.
I make that motion, Pikes.
John Bruno, second.
All those in favor, please say aye, stating your name first, please.
Berletta guy.
Westover, aye.
Bruno, aye.
Pikes eye. Pikes eye.
Thank you. The next draft minutes of the February 13th, 2020 board meeting, and they are starting on page 15 of the board packet. Is there any discussion, comments, or additions needed for these minutes? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and move for a motion for approval.
John Bruno, Board Chairman. I'll make that motion as presented.
I'll second that. This is Pikes.
And then all in favor say aye, stating your name first, please.
Roletic, aye.
Westover, aye.
Bruno,
Pikes, aye. Pikes, aye.
Thank you for that one. The next is going to be the draft minutes of the June 23rd, 2020 meeting. Those minutes are actually starting on page 19 of the board packet. Any discussion, comments, additions needed for these minutes? Hearing none, then I will ask for a motion for approval.
Westover, make a motion to approve.
John Bruno, Board Chairman, second.
All those in favor, please say aye, stating your name first, please.
Roletic, aye.
Westover,
Pikes,
aye.
aye. Pikes, aye.
Bruno, aye.
Okay, thank you for those. Now we're going to move forward to the fiscal reports. I'm going to ask Yvonne Murray just to provide the report on the August 13th, 2020 report. But then I'm going to go through each first before we get to that one. I'm going to go through each of the other fiscal reports that we need approval on and ask for any questions or comments. So
Could you
beginning
start
on,
with what page, keep
Page.
up with what page it is?
yep, page 24 of the board
Okay,
packet.
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And that's the unapproved financial report for November 7th, 2019. Is there any discussion from board members or PCCD staff on these fiscal reports for November 7th, 2019? Hearing none, then I would ask for a motion to approve.
John Bruno, I'll make that motion as presented to approve.
A second on that?
Westover, second.
All those in favor, please say aye with your name, stating your name first, please.
Roletic, aye.
Westover, aye.
Pikes, aye.
Bruno, aye.
Thank you for that. I'm going to move it then to the unapproved financial report of February 13th, 2020. That report is starting on page 29 of the board packet. Is there any discussion amongst the board members or PCCD staff in relation to changes or additions to these to this fiscal reports? Hearing none, I would ask for a motion for approval, please.
Roletic makes that motion. Pikes,
John
second.
Bruno,
Okay, I think we got butted on the second for that one. All those in favor, please say aye, stating your name first, please.
Roletic, aye.
John Bruno,
Westover, aye.
Pikes, aye.
Bruno, aye.
Thank you for that. The next unapproved financial report for June 23rd, 2020 meeting, that report is starting on page 35 of the board packet. I am asking for any input or discussion from the board members and PCCD staff. Hearing none, I will ask for a motion for approval of these financial reports.
I make that motion, Pikes.
A second?
John Bruno,
All those in favor, please say aye, stating your name first, please.
Roletic, aye.
Westover, aye.
Pikes, aye.
Bruno, aye.
Thank you. Yvonne, I'm going to ask if you could now present the report to the board for the August 13th, 2020 meeting.
Good morning, all. Yvonne Murray, PCCD staff. How is everybody?
Just Ducky.
All right. The fiscal report for fourth quarter of 2019-2020, you can find on page 41 to 46. Currently, under our receipts, the balance carried forward for the previous fiscal year is $1,792, $24.50. The fees collected through the fourth quarter were $1,599,176.42. Now, the total funds available as of June 30th of 2020 would be $3,391,200.92. Under your expenditures and commitments, Our total cumulative expenditures for June 30th of 2020 were $1,230,124.77. The total cumulative expenditures and commitments as of June 30th, 2020 were $2,707,594.09. Out of that, this includes $618,360.60 in administrative expenditures and commitments. And that breakdown is on page 43 of the board packet. Your total uncommitted funds as of June 30th, 2020 is $683,606.83.
Yvonne, how does that compare to last year at this time?
I do apologize, sir. I will have to look into that. I was not here for last year.
Hey, Chuck,
Okay.
this is John Fowl. I was just going to comment, Chairman, that keep in mind, I don't have exact numbers, but our expenditures are down this year because we've canceled pretty much all of our training. We only, I think, got in one firearms class and maybe 2 or 3 con eds. And then we did get the basic and basic firearms done. But also, too, as we discussed at the last meeting, our revenues are down because the courts shut down for quite a while. So I think it's kind of a wash. We haven't been expending any money, but money coming in is a lot less as well. So it kind of bought us some time.
And just to add on to what John stated there, we did have there was 11 Con Ed classes that we held this year. 310 actually went through the classroom subjects and passed those classroom subjects. But then there were 41 or 28 classes scheduled that we had to cancel then.
Okay.
Any
Good
other
information.
questions or discussion from the board members? PCCD staff?
No,
Go ahead, John.
I would make a motion to accept the financial report as presented by Yvonne Murray, Financial Administrator.
Do I have a second for that motion?
Ruddick.
All those in favor, please say aye, stating your name first, please.
Ruddick, aye.
Westover, aye.
Pite's aye.
Bruno, aye.
Thank you very much for that. At this point, staff do not have any discussion items. Is there anything that the board would like to bring up to discuss during the meeting? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and move forward to the informational items. Tracy Beaver will be reporting on these items. Tracy?
Good morning, everyone. Tracy Beaver here, PCCD staff. The first morning. I'm glad everyone can hear me. The first informational item is an online training update, and these numbers are as of July 22nd, 2020. With the Keystone login migration that started back in December of 2019, so far we have had 1,035 constables and deputy constables have that successful migration from the PA login to Keystone login. And that is out of 1,194 total active constables and deputy constables. And as of, again, July 22nd, we have 0 unresolved migration issues with Keystone login. We are referring constables to the Keystone login help desk. So I think that has helped significantly. With Canvas, the 4-hour online module, we have a total number of 1,194 enrollments. Again, that's the total active constables and deputy constables. And we have 603 individuals who have started that online training or activated their Canvas account. That is through receipt of the email from Temple, and they've either activated it or started. And so far we have 310 constables, individual constables, who have completed that 4-hour module, the reacting to witnessed criminal behavior. Anyone anyone have any discussion for that?
Okay, hearing none, thank you, Tracy. We will go ahead and move forward with the public voice section. Prior to opening the floor up to the public voice, I would ask if any of the training delivery contractors who are present on the call, Tony Luwanga, Dee Biter from Temple University, do either of you have any comments for the board?
Not at this time. Thank you, Sherry.
Yep. Mike Marcantino from IUP, do you have anything you would like to discuss with the board?
No, I do not. If you have any questions of anything for me, just let me know.
Sounds good. We will go ahead and open up the floor then. Tracy, at this point, we're going to open up the floor to public voice. Tracy Beaver will announce each person who requested to comment prior to the meeting being held. Just if I could, the one guideline that we have is we do ask that you keep your comments to 2 minutes or less. If you have no public comments or questions, please just indicate so whenever Tracy calls your name, but we do want to recognize you as being in attendance for the board meeting. Now, if you did mute your mic, she will have to unmute your mic in order to speak. Okay, go ahead, Tracy.
Okay, again, thank you. This is Tracy Beaver, PCCD staff. I do have a list of about 10 individuals. I'm not sure if everyone is on. So the first constable is Tread Bargan out of Washington County. Are you present? Okay, hearing no comment. The second one is Constable Clinton Craddock out of Delaware County. Okay, the third one is Constable Brian Davenport out of Lycoming County. Are you present? The next constable is Constable Gerald Mativ out of Columbia County. Hearing none. The next one is Constable David Carroll out of Washington County.
Hello, I'm here, Ms. Beaver, but I'm having a hard time trying to figure out how to use this mic.
I'm sorry, you're having a hard time trying to figure out how to use the microphone?
Yes, I can't figure out how to mute it and unmute it. So I've been
Okay.
putting my fingers over top of it, so I want to give you feedback.
Okay, I can hear you. I'm not sure, Sherry or Nick,
Yep.
are you? Okay.
Yep, we're able to hear you. Yep. So if you have any comments, you can go ahead and speak.
No, I'm good. I just listen in and see what's going on. Thank you so much.
Yep, not a problem.
Okay, thank you. The next constable is Constable Robert McMeekin out of Allegheny County. Are you present? Okay. The seventh one is Constable Joshua Mulligan out of Luzerne County. Okay. Constable Damian Scales out of Susquehanna County. Are you present? Okay. Constable Ralph Jennings out of Fayette County. I know you are present. Do you have
Yes,
any
ma'am.
comments? Any comments?
Yes, ma'am. This is Constable Jennings out of Fayette County. The question I have is on our shooting, since everything's going the way it is, may we go to, I understand that you have the two classes scheduled. Okay, but one of them's, they're 100 miles away from us. Okay? Could you not get us to, can't we certify with our own instructors, or can't we certify with the police or something rather than to, travel this far for the meetings? And second thing is, I appreciate the fact that you do put classes on. And I think you're doing a good job under the circumstances. That's all. Thank you very much for letting me talk.
Ralph, just in response back to about the annual firearms classes, these classes were scheduled basically at the most convenient location that the schools could find. Unfortunately, these locations did not work out for everyone that we contacted. There were 36 individual constables whose certification ended 12/31 of 2019 that were currently enrolled into a 2020 annual firearms class. Those are the 36 individuals that we reached out to for these 3 annual firearms classes. So if the distance or you are unavailable to make that class, what we would recommend is that you enroll into one of the very first classes of 2021. But at this point in time, based upon the board's action that they took to extend the firearms certifications, you will not be part of that group to extend the firearms certification unless you can attend one of those 3 classes that we offered.
And Sherry, this is John Fowl. I also want to bring up the training providers have had a hard time getting training facilities right now. A lot of these facilities, they don't want to commit, or they have a lot of restrictions because of COVID. So we've also had a hard time to find a facility that will allow us to conduct training.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Sherry, Mike Marcantino, can I say something?
Yes, you can, Mike. Go ahead.
Yeah, we were trying to find ranges, and I know I tried Westmoreland County Community College, and they are not starting to book till actually today, which we couldn't wait that long. I tried the Council of Governments in that area. The Butler Moraine range guaranteed to stay open. I've also offered anybody traveling a distance that they could come in later to give them a little more traveling time, because we have a small class of only 10. So I think I've talked to Ralph quite a bit and a few others that if they want to arrive a little later to save them from getting up so early, that we would wait for them.
There you go, Ralph.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for talking to me. Appreciate everything. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Ralph.
Thanks, Mike.
See you later. Thank you.
Okay, Tracy, you want to finish out our list then?
Yes, the last constable that had wanted to let me know that he was attending is John Vaccaro out of Lackawanna County.
John Vaccaro, Lackawanna County. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It may not be related, but I just wanted to mention on the June 2nd primaries in Lackawanna County, being that the state approved that extra $100 COVID pay for all the poll workers in Lackawanna County, the Board of Elections did not pay the constables that extra $100. And just as a reference, in adjoining Luzerne County, all the constables got paid poll workers pay plus the extra dollars COVID. Lackawanna County said they didn't have to pay the constables the same as the poll workers. They changed it in 2009. It may not be related. I just wanted to mention this hard economic times. I don't think it was very moral or ethical that they did that, but I contacted the election board and I told them my thoughts, but it didn't get me anywhere. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for that. Who is speaking? Yes, just please state your name. Just please state your name.
I did. You probably didn't hear me. Anyways, Washington County never paid an extra $100 also. And this is the first I ever heard of that.
Well, yeah, and unfortunately, that would be a county issue that you would need to address with them, unfortunately, and the board wouldn't have any say over that.
Right. I just want to let him know that we were in the same boat.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to open it up, and that the list is completed, correct, Tracy?
That is correct, Sherry.
Okay, now I'm going to open it
Brian
up to...
Davenport.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Brian. We did ask for you earlier.
Yeah, my alarm never went off for the phone call. I apologize.
That's okay.
So I'm out of Lycoming County. With this, when I first started all this, I was aware that a lot of times we had to pay our own training, basic training up front, all that stuff. My issue is with the fact that with firearms training, why aren't we able to, if we're contractors, why are we not able to outsource the third?
I think we lost him. Hello? Did anybody else hear the end of that conversation?
Yeah, I think you
Can you hear me
lost
now?
him.
Are you still there, Brian?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we missed the last
Hello?
part of your statement there.
Okay, I apologize. I don't know what happened. So I would like to know why we can't, since we're designated so-called contractors, why are we not able to outsource to other law enforcement firearms courses to be certified?
Well, that would be because the training and certification is coming directly from the board, and the board does not recognize any other training entities as equivalent to ours.
And Sherry, this is John
Even
Fowl. If I could address that too. So when the board first started, we did accept waivers of firearms training if you are 120 certified. The board did away with that, I want to say, around 2008, 2009, because one of the things we were finding, because MOPEC had at the time had a recommended course of fire, but it was not mandatory. So a police chief determined how much his officers trained on firearms and what the standards kind of was. Most departments followed MOPEC's recommended standard. However, when the board did away with that, we had about 45, I think, constables who had a firearms waiver. They were now required to come to the 20-hour annual continuing education firearms training. And we had about half of those constables who, in passing at their departments, failed the board standard. And that was the board's concern: is are they getting an equivalent or better training and in all of this? So kind of indirectly, the board is shied away from, as a result, it just accepting, outside certifications, because really this is the only state standard for constables when it comes to firearms.
Does that answer your question then, Brian? Okay, I'm going to open public voice up to any other constables or persons who would like to address the board. Please state your name prior to speaking.
Constable Westover, Venango County.
Okay.
Specifically, Mr. Fowl, at this point, are we looking at any other basic firearms training classes this year?
At this point, no. And Sherry, correct me on numbers if I get them wrong. I think we had about 20 that were originally enrolled in the class that we just held. I know one individual could not make it, so we started with 19, as you know. Then we lost one for a medical reason. He was having difficulty on the range. So we ended up shooting 18, and we did have 5 failures, double failures. And at this point, we do not have another basic training class planned, and staff is pretty good at tracking if there are other guys out there, looking or waiting for a basic training class. So I don't know if Tracy or Sherry has any numbers on that, but I don't think if it is, it's, probably 1 or 2 guys.
Okay, the reason for my question was, and I specifically promised that I would, raise that question with the board at the meeting, was one of those double failures was down there at Lancaster, trying to get to work, and of course, one of his questions was the reg stuck on the fact that since he failed to qual, would he have to take the entire class over again since he had to pay the tuition fee? And I told him that my take on it was it is a regulation issue, that current regulations, if you fail the basic, you fail the whole thing. If you don't make the qual, and you fail the whole thing. Am I correct in saying that, John?
That is correct. Under the current regulation. And I did speak with that individual afterwards. He approached Mike Marcantino and I, and I understand, and I'll tell you, because I was there, I watched the qualification, and Sunday morning, the lead instructor did tell me that that gentleman, when he failed the first time, the lead instructor was very surprised because he did fine during training and during the practice qual. And so I don't know. And I spoke with the individual, and I think sometimes people hear that word qualification and they know it's for record. And as you know, Craig, as a firearms instructor, sometimes people kind of get a little too worked up. We have that happen in the deputy sheriff training. People do fine through the training and practice qual, and then when it's for record, sometimes they just can't get it together. So.
Well, I can tell you, because he has called me numerous times, and then, like I said, I fielded one other phone call from that same class, another one of the failures, who was also wondering if he could just shoot a qual since he paid the money, and I also told him the same thing. It was a reg thing. But when I questioned the one constable in depth about what preparation for the class, and maybe this is something we just need to address in our information we send out to them prior to taking firearms, was I said, well, when's the last time you had your eyes checked? He said, well, about 5 years ago. Well, he's an older individual, and I know that things can rapidly change, within, a 5-year period. I said, how about your firearm? Did you get your firearm checked out? Well, the sight came loose during the qual. I had it at a gunsmith prior to the class, and supposedly the front sight was fixed, but it came loose during. So the preparation thing, I think, is probably as big as the actual day, because, I understand that wearing a mask, and the steaming up of the safety glasses, and there was there was spray there to spray the glasses in order to keep the fog down. But unfortunately, on the day we get into a gunfight, we may not have perfect visibility, and we may have these issues. And so I guess the preparation for the class, if the consideration is when you send it out, by the way, have you had your eyes checked, and have you had your firearm checked out, because you're paying a tuition fee, and if things don't happen for your qual, be prepared. So do all the little things that may also count to whether or not you make it or you lose. You miss your qual by a point or two. So I just wanted to throw that in there, for the record. The other thing I've been getting fielded on a lot of questions, and like I said, it was brought up from, I believe it was the constable in Fayette County, was, about qualifying with another agency. And I guess our problem is with the regs and not knowing the standards that, or what the firearms qual is. As a board member, I'm not comfortable assuming liability for certifying somebody with a firearm if I don't know the qualification course and I don't have a guarantee that they actually shot that course that some instructor didn't sign off. Now, I hear the argument on the other side that as an instructor, I would never do that. I'd never just sign off, because then I have liability. If I qualify the guy, he gets into a gunfight and somebody gets shot that shouldn't be shot. So I understand that side of it too, but I guess that's the problem as a board. Certifying people for firearms, we really need to have locked down as to the course of fire and also the actual performance, and the instructors directly contracted to PCCD so that we have accountability. And am I wrong, John, in anything I stated here?
No, Craig, you're correct. And, and not to throw instructors under the bus, but the other concern is there are a lot of instructors out there. They teach in our program, they teach in MOPEC, they teach 235, and some of those qual courses, they're 90% the same, but they might have enough differences. And I know I've had instructors say they got to really focus. Okay, today I'm doing the Act 49 qual, because they have these courses in their head. And sometimes, we want to make sure they're calling the right course and that the qualification meets the board standards. So, and also too, the board historically has always felt that if you failed the basic, this is a lot of constables come to us with very little previous firearms experience or formal training. And this is really the only opportunity they have to get that law enforcement professional firearms training. It's not hunting, it's not shooting at targets. It's geared towards what might happen on the street. And that's a big difference. So that's important.
Well, and the other thing I want to make sure the board knows is we probably had the opportunity with this basic training class to run more laser shot scenarios than ever before for a basic class, because we had enough folks and we were able to rotate the lines that everybody that came through that course got several scenario training, in both singly, and then we also brought them in and did partners where they had to do contact cover. So we had a big advantage. We had having an extra laser shot, having 2 laser shot instructors, and being able to rotate the lines. I think it was 6 at a time, for each station. It worked out pretty well, and the board can be assured that this new basic training class really had the benefit of a lot of laser shot work, which I think is kind of the gold standard we're looking for, as a finish, for your firearms qualification. Okay, John, that's all I've got, or Sherry, I've got for the board. I just wanted to chime in on this firearms thing, where we stand right now, and I will mute my button.
You're fine, Craig. Not a problem. Okay, is there anyone else who was not recognized during public voice that would like to be included in the board meeting attendance that has not been identified?
Sherry, Beth here, Romero, PCCD.
Hi, Beth. Thank you. I was going to recognize you next.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, hearing none. If there's no other public voice or discussion from the board, I'm then going to ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
John Bruno, Chairman, I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Berletic, second.
All in favor, please say aye and stating your name first, please.
Berletic, aye.
Aye.
Westover, aye.
Fights aye.
Bruno, aye. Sherry, when is our next scheduled meeting?
Our next scheduled meeting is November 19th at 9 a.m. I'm assuming that it will also be held via Skype. So just keep watching your emails for updates, and we will send information out to the constable population, again, to offer them the chance to speak during public voice for the Skype meeting. But the next meeting, the last meeting of the year, will be November 19th at 9 a.m. via Skype. And again, just watch your emails. And that's all I have. Go ahead.
Is Attorney Deborah Sandiford still available?
Yes, Deborah's on the call.
I am here.
I just wanted to say good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Good to hear everyone's voice.
Yep. I just want to wish everybody a good rest of the summer, and I hope it stays hot. And I am, I don't know, trying to recover from the fact that there's not going to be any Penn State football. I guess I get to remodel my basement. I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah,
okay, well, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you all for attending. Staff will start working on moving the 2 action items for the extension of the firearms certification and also the change to the 2020 training requirement. Moving those forward to the commission. I will keep the board appraised of when those are approved, and I will also have information sent out to the constable population as well. So I thank you all for your time this morning, and we will talk on November 19th. If you have any questions, concerns, or anything, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sherry.
Yes.
Don't forget, when you hit close, you have to let it process.
Yeah.
Before you can exit out.
Stop recording.